Welcome to Thursday Night Saws. This week we have a special guest. We have Dave and Barbara Zerfoss. Probably the names are not real familiar to you, but for about 18 years, Dave was the North American president for HUSQVARNA, and Barbara was the marketing manager for about 12 of those years. And it's amazing how much they did in putting HUSQVARNA on the map in North America, United States and Canada. And so very proud that they are retired now and they're on a vacation down into Florida. But they took the time to meet with us tonight and discuss some old days of things that happened and a little discussion on battery saws. So it's quite interesting. Also, David Breeden and also Chris Childs has joined in. So it's an excellent night of the Thursday night saws. But a special guest tonight in here is Laura Tanner Ard. She has been with me for 27 years, taking care of all the training and activities and keeping me going. I just love and appreciate her so much. It's our 27th anniversary. And so hope you enjoy this session. A little bit of memory and good sawing to you.
Yep, we've been cutting for the last, I guess, about a week and a half. Mm-hmm. So, well, 50.
Where at did you say in Ohio?
Yeah, we're in Indian Lake, just outside of Lewistown, Ohio.
Outside of where?
Lewistown?
Where's that? I'm from Cincinnati.
Hour outside of Columbus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's where it happened.
Yes, about 300 homes completely destroyed, and then probably another 200 damaged.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Whoa, we did not see it.
Yeah. The news doesn't.
Indiana.
Are y'all in Florida?
Same one that hit Indiana?
Yes, same storm. Yep.
Wow.
And they just left Texas, been out there cleaning up after the fires right there. So
Left Texas, came to Ohio. I'll go home one day.
So are you all just volunteer this, or is this a charity, obviously some kind of charity?
Yeah, it's on staff, but everyone else here is a volunteer. So I had 48 volunteers today from 14 states.
oh wow.
Couple tree climbers, had some skilled guys, and we have skid steers and excavators, and we're tearing the houses down and doing tree work now. We tarped all the roofs.
Wow. And where are you based out of? Where's the organization headquartered?
Danville, Virginia, right on the Virginia-North Carolina line.
Oh, okay. Good.
Almost neighbors.
Yeah. We have a home in Charlotte area.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm in Charlotte all the time.
Okay. We're in Florida right now at our condo.
Yeah.
Can't tell. Could be blind,
Good place to be.
Yeah. We're looking at the beach. There's still enough light. We're watching the waves over here, but it's pretty. Sun's down though.
Awesome.
yeah. Well, Chris, Dave and Barbara they're somewhat retired now. I guess they're still doing all kinds of speaking stuff. And Barbara is an author. She has, 3 books out now?
Mm-hmm. Several. And one novel, the other a nonfiction. Yeah.
And Dave's got 4 or 5 books also.
Yeah. Well, all that Barbara wrote.
His name.
But Dave was the North American president for HUSQVARNA.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and Barbara
I was heading up marketing.
She was all the marketing.
U.S. and global.
I guess with Poland back before HUSQVARNA, right?
Right.
Who? Me?
Yeah, you.
No. I was in irrigation.
Irrigation.
The irrigation industry before HUSQVARNA.
Oh, okay.
No, I came from outside the industry. Still in the landscaping sort of realm, but
But many years with HUSQVARNA marketing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, 11 or 12. Yeah. Dave was there 18. I think I was there
Yes.
12.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Now, Mr. David Breeden.
Yeah.
Hello, David.
Hey, Dave and Barbara, how are y'all?
Gosh, it's good to see you and hear you.
It's great to see y'all. You haven't changed a bit.
Oh,
You,
Yeah, I'd
you,
like all this few more miles on us.
you both found the fountain of youth. Tell us where.
we're happy.
Well,
How do we know? It shows, huh?
that does show. Absolutely, great to see y'all.
Good to see you too. We sure miss you. How old are your kids now, David? I bet they're like grown now.
I've got so Sophie, my daughter. She's the oldest. She's 26. She actually works for HUSQVARNA now.
Oh no!
She is a territory manager and down in South Georgia and North Florida, and she had a better year than I did in 2023, and she reminds me every day. And Trip is 24. He served 4 years in the Marine Corps. He's married. He has a 20-month-old son, and he owns a tree care company. So
Wow.
he's doing a fantastic job. They're both doing great. Thanks for asking.
That's just awesome.
And Andrea's still a lot better looking than he is.
Yeah, absolutely. She's certainly still the better half for sure.
Well, the family that talks about chainsaws sticks together. That's for sure.
That's true. That's true. I've got a great video I need to send you of my grandson running his chainsaw. So he can make the noises and everything.
It's in the blood, in the genes.
Yeah, right. Well, where are you guys tonight? Are you at home or?
No, we're in Florida at our condo, Venice,
Okay.
beach in Venice.
And it's sort of our second home.
Yeah.
That sounds like a tough place to be right now.
Yeah, right. Yes.
So, it's our getaway. We come once a month,
Well, good for you.
3 weeks, and
Well,
then come down here to relax, and in between have phone calls and Zoom calls.
well, the sun has just set on the beach. It was a beautiful golf sunset.
Lovely evening.
That's awesome.
The good Lord did it again.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Does that sunset again?
Yes.
I guess Tim wants to talk chainsaws, maybe. Taking over Tim's show.
What he likes to do for some reason.
Whole time.
Yeah,
Laura.
it's been a great time thinking about a lot of memories. On today, there was Mike Marshall and Jim Goodall.
Oh, wow.
Goodall.
On Facebook today, going over all some history.
Oh.
South Carolina and Monk's Corner.
Oh, yes. Yep, that was, we had some great contests down there.
Yeah.
And training.
I remember you did pretty well.
Monk's
Well,
Corner.
yeah.
Stephen Furtick, Elevation Church,
Right,
pastors from Monk's Corner, South
Well,
Carolina.
Sorna Erickson was down there too.
Yeah.
Sorna's famous line is, "You don't need a helmet if you don't have anything to protect."
Keep talking, Dave. I'll find out where Tim got all his content from.
You got it. You got it. Because, and on that note, Tim, you put something out today and you said, what's it? Presentation without demonstration is merely conversation. And I read it to Dave and he goes, "That's my line." I said, "Dave, I'm used to hearing Don Roop say it." And Dave said, "'Cause Don Roop got it from me." That was so funny.
Oh,
And I probably got it from somewhere else.
Really got it from somebody, Dave.
when I read that today, I knew where that came from.
You do it. Yeah.
We've been blessed with the incredible relationships we've had over the years.
Mhm. Yeah, we started off with all the dealer meetings and the training classes, and all I was the equipment operator then. You know, all the slides and the audio.
Right.
Really? Really?
Yeah, he did all of the talking, and I did all of the presentation, getting it.
At Steel?
Yeah.
At Steel?
This was I was just reflecting on that back to the Myron White days when I was with Steele and that process. But I saw very early, it's sort of like a line from Star Wars that the force is strong with this one, and that was Mr. Tim Mars. I knew the force was strong with him. I mean, he couldn't be stopped. He talked about technology and AV and audio before we could even spell it. But
Still Mr. Technology, Tim, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's taken a while. I started adding all these cameras and stuff to start doing stuff with COVID.
Yeah.
And then after that, getting sick, it's kind of paid off a little bit. So
Good.
it's kept me busy to put things together. But you can ask Chris and David. It's been a challenge to get everything working here over the past couple months.
Oh. Well, you had to move it all too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had a big place over there, but it was it's a little bit more cramped here. But I don't have to move around quite as much. So it works pretty good.
It's great.
yeah, every breakdown creates a breakthrough.
Yeah.
Gentlemen.
Well, what we're going to talk about tonight, I've been doing a kind of a little series thing on from here to there. You know, we always talked about getting information from one person to another, whether it was sales training or whether it was situations of chainsaw operation. And so I started asking a lot of people, and I've got quite a lot recorded about how they first learned about running a chainsaw. You know, and mine was I started off a little bit with my dad, but then basically when I met Soren, then he started passing along to me a lot of information, and I think he did that to a lot of people over the years. And a lot of it has expanded, and so many times now, you know, people don't know where it comes from. You know, it's something where it's the history of it hasn't followed. You see the techniques, and you see some different planning processes and things that come about from that. But you know, everybody said it was their own idea, I guess. You know, and it's like when you steal stuff like presentation without demonstration, it came from somebody. You know, and it's something that when we look at it, we all learn that way. We all pick up stuff as we go. But as we started to look at formulating instructors and things over the years, and no matter what the topic is, it's trying to get back to the basics to be able to take and make sure that we're covering things. And today with what got me started on this with YouTube and social media is there's a lot of people that's showing the demonstration portion, but the presentation hasn't been put together. And so that was my comment today. Sometimes it takes all three. You know, it takes a presentation, a demonstration, and then it takes a lot of conversation to explain it. You know, in whatever order. Conversation's usually first, but it's scary when you really start to look at a lot of the stuff out there that people are doing well with the social media. They're getting a lot of followers and hits, but then they're forgetting about the impressions that they're leaving on a lot of people that's just starting out. And a lot of the standard things with chainsaws that you find in the operators manuals and the different programs around the country are not followed at all. I mean, and it's also kind of sad somewhat with manufacturing nowadays. Since it's changing over to electrics and battery units, is that they're actually missing some of the safety features that were part of the ANSI B175 standards and those kinds of things, because it doesn't fall under that situation. So everything is, let's sell as many as we can, and I think that was something that Dave, you always made sure of, is that the safety and the training was number one out there, and then the sales would come. The product, and it would hold up better, and people would understand it better. But this thing with YouTube is scaring me. I mean, it's to the point to where people are almost riotous over what they feel and what takes place as far as just operating saws and other equipment, and especially since COVID, where a lot of people changed occupations and started doing work with lawn and landscape and chainsaws and that kind of thing. I mean, it's really gotten critical, and most everybody is learning from those things on YouTube, and it's when people have the saws upside down, cutting a limb off, like this over their head as far as they can reach. It's not too good for them in some cases, and especially not too good for their people that are watching. But then also the industry starts to hurt from it, and that's it's always been somewhat that way, but it's I think it's really amplified here over the past 3 or 4 years, big time. David and I were talking about that yesterday, and and Chris's challenge with it is trying to get volunteers out there that have different levels of experience, and trying to get everybody kind of under the basics so that it can be managed out there in a work group. But like I had comment back today on that if you're experienced, then you know what you're doing, and you don't you know how to get out of the way. You know how to do this, and accidents are unplanned events, as we always said, or Soren did, and it's something that, if that's the case, you got to make sure that you've got it in your plan, or you're going to end up with a situation that you don't expect. And it doesn't have to necessarily happen to you. Some people with experience can handle that, but then what happens if they've got somebody close to them? Like a lot of the guys, they're doing the cutting, but somebody else is filming now, and they're pretty close filming. So if something goes wrong because they missed something in the plan, now somebody gets hurt. But yeah, it's something where it's always been tough for the industry, but it's hard to find the dedication to it like y'all did, Dave and Barbara, and to be able to go, and it's still carrying on today. They're constantly looking for people inside to to take and carry out the training and stuff, and that's a good deal.
Jim, you're reminding me of us filming you actually it was our side yard on Lake Norman, doing a chainsaw safety video that I would use in marketing to send out as public service announcements when tornadoes or hurricanes hit.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I do remember that, yeah.
PR, with the PR firm came in from New York to do that. So you were really good. You were great on camera, I remember, and really important to get that message out, especially in the storms when people that aren't used to ever using a chainsaw go to one of the big box stores or one of the dealers and suddenly use a chainsaw especially coming from a big box store with very little instruction on how to use it, safety, equipment required that they should be using.
Yep. I ask that question in every single presentation, how many of y'all have read an operator's manual? And I might get one hand up out of 50. And
Yeah.
It's something to where, where did they learn what they know about chainsaws? And it's usually by watching somebody else, which is one of the good ways to learn. But, with part-time use of something, it can get kind of tricky there sometimes. Mm-hmm. But Yeah, I ask that question all the time, and there's very, very few and that have actually gone through that. And I was exposed to that back kind of early when helping to put together some of the different manuals and things like that. And it was it's always a challenge to meet the responsibility side and the legal side and all of that kind of stuff and get things across that people can watch or read the presentation and then watch the demonstration and know what they have.
It's interesting, Tim, as you mentioned that there are the folks that sometimes it's more the notoriety or the number of views they think they're getting versus really what is the subject about. And Mark just finished a book with Marcus Buckingham, the Love Plus Work, and love is that red thread in your business that really lights you up, and you're passionate about it. And Tim, you've always been, and that was Further Fuel and Laura in support as your time has unfolded in what you do in an amazing professional way. Is you love and care about the people in that process. And when you're passionate about something you love and care, it makes all the difference. And you've captured your spirit from the very beginning. Whether that started out as at least a pledging from our relationship at Myers and White, the whole way up through the whole process of where we came together and forestry applications came together as official title, et cetera, is you always cared about the people. The good part about it is you're the first to hand out tough love too. when a professional is not being professional or not doing it right or is not safe. But I think that's what's missing from a lot of the views out there is the heart and the passion for the professionalism, but caring about the operators from the very get-go.
Yeah, I think that's and some of them are very dedicated to the work and the industry, and they've worked hard and they've came up with ways of staying alive over the years, and they've created techniques in some cases or work habits in some cases that are a little bit tougher to do sometimes than what they realize, but when they start trying to share it makes it tough to share because, watch me do this. Well, they don't understand. I can show you video after video where they didn't really talk about the planning process there, and Soren would sit there and say, what's the five, every single time, and that's what we've always kind of carried on is what he started, but it was. The issue is that watch me do this doesn't give you the actual basis that you're doing, and that's in a lot of topics, and so it takes a combination to be a training system. It's not just watching and doing. It's thinking through that presentation and discussion about what you're actually going to do, and then you can see and read the results. And so that's to me, I think some of it that is going by the wayside, and they're calling it safety or they're calling it experience, but and as Soren always used to say, his experience comes in two forms too. You got good ones and bad ones, right? And you want to learn the good ones on your own, the bad ones from somebody else. And I say that just about every day somewhere, and a lot of people don't realize it doesn't make any difference how many hours you've got on the saw or any type of equipment. If you miss that one little plan, that unplanned event's going to happen.
Well, I think as the true definition of professional is someone who's passionate about it and keeps on learning because life isn't static. We all want to look for a balanced life. It's not. It's always moving. And the same with the circumstances. There's new products. There's new situations. et cetera. And just as Chris was talking about cleaning up from tornadoes, how many people have been in that situation and what occurs, or hurricanes are different, floods are different. I mean, there's all kinds of different experiences. And when you're a true professional, you're staying curious, always learning.
Volcanoes, you were at that.
Yeah, volcanoes, yes. Yes,
Washington
yes.
State. Trees.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. It was, I think it was 82, 83, somewhere in there. It was Mount St. Helens when it actually blew off 2,300 feet off the top of that mountain. That's as high as a lot of the peaks are in the Smoky Mountains. It blew that much off of it, but I've never seen anything in my life like that. We flew up there with Union Camp and Weyerhaeuser, circling that, and actually sort of the center of the volcano right over the top of it. But it was so forceful, so directional. It was like somebody took a giant comb and combed the timber down. And this was old growth timber, 20, 30 feet across at the base. And it was like a giant comb. It was so uniform, so laid down, so directional, so forceful. It just, yeah, all kinds of different situations, that's for sure.
Saw it
Yeah.
eventually.
Yes. Yeah, we saw.
Yeah, that's where all of the HD filter came from that Roger Simons
That's right. KM filters, right?
sent me out there and tell me to collect volcanic dust.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it was 20 and 30 feet deep in places. It was horrendous. You know, it was like with one cut of the saw chain had to be thrown away because it was like valve grinding compound. It had just it created from the rivets, it extended the holes and ruined the rivets that they literally would make one giant cut, throw the chain away.
Yeah. Yeah, it polished inside and outside.
Right, yes.
Yeah, those were the days.
But there's always something new shifting and changing, and you got to be prepared to change.
Well, I was going to ask you. I mentioned this before. What are you thinking about all the battery stuff? Is it gonna? I don't know how much. I guess you keep up with the industry pretty good. You're still on some councils and stuff. What do you think? Is it gonna be the deadline this year or?
Well, I think the battery it's really an interesting subject. We were involved with a co-venture with Caterpillar for quite some time, trying to find that breakthrough in batteries, and it's never really came. You have lithium batteries today, et cetera, but the aspect of it is they don't have much more durability than they once had. Now it can create considerable torque, et cetera. It certainly is not. It's certainly not a passing fad if we can figure out how to charge all of them. But the perspective of it is that there's just so many issues with it. As people figure out, is lithium is about as bad as atomic waste. Now, what are you going to do with all that lithium product, and where are you going to put it? Because it almost needs to be contained in concrete tanks inside it to keep it from leaking into the soil. So there's a lot of residual things going along with battery that have to be solved. I'm totally convinced they will solve them, but there's going to have to be breakthroughs in the batteries to last longer and be lighter in that process. But
How much batteries are chainsaws? Tell us, because you all are out there in the field using them now. Somebody is. Or are you? Is anyone? Any of you?
Chris has got a few.
We got, I have 54 chainsaws with us on a normal deployment, and 3 of them are battery.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to get gas. It's a lot easier to, take gas with us than to charge everything. If I go to a hurricane, there's no guarantee I can charge but I guarantee if I bring 25-gallon buckets of pre-mixed fuel, I'm in good shape for a long time.
Yeah, it was interesting when they were running up at Fort Myers here, all the utility trucks and stuff, the big yards was prior to the hurricane. There was a picture taken. One of them said, "Which one of these is battery operated?" Obviously, the answer was not in that process, but this isn't also, though, saying, hey, it's not going to happen, but there's going to have to be some considerable breakthroughs for it. And
Well, there's been a lot of breakthroughs since we were around, Dave.
well, there have been breakthroughs, but not in the durability of the batteries. They still haven't gotten that figured out yet, which will have to happen. But there's a whole issue around the utility grid is just not capable of handling all the utility vehicles, all the expansion of everything electric going on, and that's running parallel as a problem.
I think a deadline's coming out in some of the states, and the inventories are down on, and they don't have the larger saws really ready yet for the battery units. So I mean, in the woods and the big trees, it's going to be very tough. And then the climbing saws and stuff. David's a certified arborist and stuff now, and he deals a lot with it, especially around Atlanta, and there's a lot of battery units that are working in the trees. That's pretty good. But when you, and just the climbers and the bucket saws, but when you get up to the bigger stuff, there's nothing there. So what are you going to do? If they halt the sales, it's going to be kind of tough.
Yeah. So the smaller displacement stuff. I mean, battery is out there in the arboriculture industry. Anything that's 40 cc's or less. The challenge is the higher displacement stuff. And to Dave's point, I mean, the durability of the batteries is still an issue. How to dispose of this stuff, and then the charging piece is still a challenge. But HUSQVARNA has gained considerable market share in the top handle business, which has always been a challenge with us. We were slow to market there, and we have a competitor that owns the market share. And really, this has we've done an excellent job with that. Believe it or not, their battery technology is not up to par, and they focus more on the consumer side of the business and the professional side. And HUSQVARNA did the opposite. So we're winning there. HUSQVARNA saw, which is the first unit to hit the market. It feels just like gas, has throttle response like gas. The challenge with the battery saw has been when the motor overloads, the chain stops, and you have to remove the unit from the cut, take your hand off the trigger to start it back up. So this is more like gas, where the more pressure you apply, you can stop the chain, but if you lift out of the cut and take some of the pressure off the chain loop, the chain starts turning again. So everybody's bullish about battery. We're no different. Somebody's going to win.
Yeah.
What I see is that 80%. Well, the numbers are 80% of battery products are sold in the mass channel, and when you've got two major professional chainsaw brands that people recognize as the best on planet Earth at building chainsaws, they are not selling more battery product. It's the Milwaukee's and DeWalt's, because they've won the customer many years ago on the battery, and that's been the strategy. If you own the battery, you own the customer. And there was a time, when Dave and Barbara, you were in this business, there was a few brands that were recognized as the ones that knew how to build blowers and trimmers and chainsaws, and those were none of the two brands, Milwaukee and DeWalt. And now they're selling more of this stuff than everybody else, and nobody stops to think, do they know how to build a chainsaw or trimmer or blower? Because they don't. They're not good at that. They're good at building batteries and chargers. and they're getting the lion's share of the business just because of that. It's really interesting. So I everything changes. Dave, you mentioned that this is not static. Everything changes. So, very interesting business, but everybody's investing lots of money in it. And when you were still the president of Husqvarna, the Swedes, they're forward thinkers. They recognize that there needed to be a lot of money invested there. And I can remember reading things in 2005 and 2006. There was a lot of money being invested in battery technology.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There was, and obviously some of that's paying off now.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
We haven't even mentioned the robotic side of the business. I mean, that is, Husqvarna created the concept. They're the best at it. There's a lot of competitors. There's some very viable competitors, brand names that we know that have the R&D, that have the people, that have the money, that still have not figured out the robotics business, and that's Honda. That's that's one that if you want to take one right off the top, if Honda can't figure it out, then it's very difficult. We went from the early models to now we have Sierra that'll actually maintain 21 acres and works on RTK satellite technology, which is accurate to a fraction of an inch. No wires in the ground. I mean, the technology is fantastic, and and the Chinese. I mean, they're coming with everything, all types of battery technology, and their stuff's not that bad. Somebody's going to figure it out, but I can promise you that Husqvarna is on the forefront of so many different categories, and robotic mowing is certainly one of those.
Husqvarna is the corporation, and that there were some other brands within the global group before that. We were definitely ahead of everybody on the automatic mowing, way ahead of its time, actually.
Absolutely.
World wasn't even that we were way out front.
The big challenge with that, with the category, is how to go to market with it. I think if we've made any mistakes as a company, it's that. And I think we've been doing that for some time. The U.S. marketplace is different than Europe, and I heard a few years ago that in Europe, one out of every four lawnmowers sold is robotic, and that's obviously not going to be the case here for a long time. I mean, the market's much larger, and the zero-turn business here is a huge thing, and not so much in Europe. But we struggle on go-to-market strategies, and we have taxed our dealer base, the same dealer base that you both spent years building and developing, and we've gone to them and said we need you to sell this product, and you know how loyal they are. They say, okay, I'll do it one more time, and we don't have the right strategy on the backside, but it's a fantastic product. It is still ahead of its time, and we'll figure it out.
Neat thing about it is a lot of training opportunities.
Right.
A lot of training opportunities.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Forever.
Good thing.
That's great. Well, good to hear about the battery, that so much has improved, and it's actually so many professionals are using the chainsaws batteries. Although Chris has 50 some and 3 batteries, he's preferring, because you're going into the tornado, the storm zones, especially where there might not be a chance to recharge. So
Yeah, and the 3 that we're using, they're top handles.
okay.
So they're professional top handles. The like David was saying, they work great, but you get on the ground, and I was working on a 40-inch diameter cottonwood today. you don't need a battery saw to do that. So decent game.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting. They have the technology. The batteries are not where they need to be. Several years, it's been 6 or 7 years ago now. We had one of the Swedish guys that came over in an exchange as a product manager, and he was one I've been the closest to. And he told me, so they have 70 to 80 cc class chainsaws that are developed and that'll outcut our 70 cc chainsaws. But after it makes 3 cuts, the battery's discharged.
Yeah.
And that's just not going to work. And construction has a 14-inch concrete saw that runs on battery that's super nice and has as much power as the gas version, but the battery probably weighs 15 pounds. So Dave covered it all earlier. He said it's weight, it's durability, it's charging solution. I mean, it's the challenge, and it's going to be a challenge. Somebody will figure it out. There's some charging solutions out there that are very costly. Um, and they're from brands that aren't proven yet.
Yeah, that's the next thing with the power companies. The EMCs are trying to, come up, and they have a lot of other battery units as far as the drills they're using for work on the poles and those kind of things. And they try to tie it into the units as far as their batteries and their charging systems. And so they're kind of stuck with the more industrial units that's been following their industry, and it's battery banks that are built into the trucks, or charging banks that are built into the trucks for them to be able to keep everything charged up. But I had training opportunities down in southern Alabama, and the guys are saying, well, our gas saws are a little bit dirty because we don't use them much anymore except storms, and we use batteries on most everything on the poles now, so they were kind of happy with that. But looking at their saws, neither one of them were maintained very well. So it was something where it all comes back to the basics at one point or another.
Mm.
Doesn't make any difference whether it's battery or
It's training on how to take care of it, training how to use it, training. We all need it.
Yeah, definitely.
Field.
Well, folks, I think I don't know. We've got some of them. Bryant was watching, and some others. But any questions, Laura?
Right, just said sorry, missed you.
Yeah.
I said hello.
Yep. We appreciate y'all dropping by tonight, and it'll be all recorded. We don't have too many people dropping by on Thursday night, but a lot of people watch the recordings, so I think they'll appreciate your time on and y'all being available. And, like I said earlier, a lot of people don't realize all of the history that's out there and what has happened. There's a lot of diehard HUSQVARNA folks out there that don't know how they got so popular in the United States. And we always try to tell them because it's a lot of history there.
Still the best around. Still the best in the world.
Well,
I agree.
Tim, David, and obviously Chris is using those, training people, and with a heart of creating professionals, and the people who are using can use them safer, more efficient, more productively, et cetera. That's how the name gets spread. Yeah. Professionals are more about the referral statement than they are about the best possible ads, even though
Ads or something.
put those together. But the professional business is that referral business, and if it works, they'll tell another professional. If it doesn't work, they'll also tell another one.
Our marketing was supporting people like Tim and Laura.
Yeah.
Get the word out there. Big part of the marketing campaign and the success of HUSQVARNA. You all traveling the country.
Yeah.
So
People did not realize, or if you can own the professional side of a market, you can extend it into the the serious homeowner, not maybe the casual homeowner inside it, but it's hard to go from the casual user and then create a professional persona because it's just about impossible. But we did that at HUSQVARNA, but when we say we was it, like I said, it was David, how many shows were you at? Tim, Forestry Applications has endorsed the sexiest bus in the world out there. And the chainsaws along the side of it, etc. But, you all were disciples in the way of the conviction of your heart and wanting to be a professional. And I'm delighted, Chris, you're part of that team too now.
Yeah, God bless you
It's-
for all you
it's-
all do for people.
Yeah,
You know,
it's just
stores.
incredible. So just keep that heart up. The passion will live on.
I tell you,
Well,
man.
that Tim and I had lunch yesterday, and we talked a lot about history. And what I took a lot of things out of that conversation, Dave. And one of those was that you always supported the training piece, and Tim loves to talk about the basics and the fundamentals, and that's just what you talked about. Is the fundamentals of the power equipment industry are winning professional. And when you do that, that filters down to other categories of end users. And Tim, learned lots of things from you and from Soren, and Soren's legacy lives through the training that Tim does, and the training that I do, and the training that Chris does, and Tim's legacy will live, through the training that we do, and people that I train that'll be out there one day that does this. And techniques that are being taught, people don't even know how they were created. And, I try to pass that along but it all started with, you believing in people and pulling them along with you. And I know every opportunity that I got in this business started with your belief in me and Tim's belief in me. And I want to tell you both that I really appreciate that.
Well, you're a blessing to us. Is that you carrying the torch forward is the greatest thing can happen. Uh, Dave's time will come in the place of the sun, and we'll move on to other places. My journey is I train leaders to become better professional leaders and business people, but you carry the torch forward, and God bless you. Just because I know there's times you think you're pouring your heart into it. It's not always appreciated as much as it is, but guess what? Is you're creating an incredible legacy and importance. Things like my dad said is the true worth of a man is the one who plants fruit trees will never see them grow.
Wow.
In other words, he's doing it for the next generation. And I saw my dad do that repeatedly, and some of the lessons didn't take real early in my life, but I started to appreciate them more as it goes on. And you're planting the seeds, you're planting the sprouts, you're planting those things for the next generation of professionals to come along that are going to lead better, work better, and make a difference in other people's lives.
I got my pen out for that one because that was something to take note of. That's awesome. I'll be using that. That's a great statement. It's true.
Hey, another thing too is, and I just want to say, the ladies sitting next to us, Dave, are very important. And this one, 27 years ago, she was pushing me to keep the training going, and it's something to where she's worked a lot harder than I have, and traveled all over the country. We were talking about today how many miles and places we've been. There's not many places that we haven't gone through, and
flown to, like Hawaii.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
up into Canada and all over.
And besides the bus, for a while, you had your own plane.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, training's been good to me. I had 6 of them actually.
Fix what?
Planes.
I think that was after us. I think we were sponsoring the bus. Like, man,
But you might have been able to talk me into it.
yeah.
I remember that. The bus was quite an investment, but it made travel nice, and that's about the only thing that finance degrees was a good deal with the training.
Steve, Steve Woods. Steve Woods
Yeah.
started the sponsored your bus, right?
Yeah.
Marketing
Yeah.
before me. Yeah.
And it,
Tim and Laura, this whole industry has got an incredible debt we'll never be able to repay for the conviction that you went from the very humble start to the professional level that you took training and education to. And I know there was a lot of people pushed back. Some cases the industry pushed back. At times there wasn't the vision within the power equipment world to appreciate that. But you kept forging forward and persevering and learning and developing and training and pouring into others. And I think you got living proof right here on the screen right now, let alone all those out there, lives that you have touched. And it's an incredible legacy that'll live on forever.
I appreciate that. And it all started off with Eye of the Tiger.
But
It all started off with Eye of the Tiger, and you're
Eye of the Tiger, that's right. And the slide's moving at the right time. I'm sure that technology has improved in that, but
I heard those stories.
Tim made it happen.
It's amazing how I remember all this old stuff, and I can't hardly remember what I did this morning. So I guess that's radiation and chemo and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
feeling
it happens
good.
all
I'm feeling good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're looking good, Tim. We're praying for you every day, and I know you're keeping through Laura, keeping that positive attitude and mindset.
Yeah. I went up and put together a video for Laura's group up in Pigeon Forge, Sevierville over the weekend. I was the only man and 48 women,
Yeah.
so it was.
he was a bit spoiled.
Hey,
Are you bragging? I would be.
oh my goodness.
It was good.
It was fun.
You two are quite the team.
Yeah.
Always an inspiration. I always remember you. You're out there working together. Laura was taking the phone calls and emails about the trainings and traveling with you and organizing it while you were conducting it in the field or in the classroom and right
He
there
was
by
always
yourself.
asking, when can we be home? I was like, we don't stay home. We got work to do.
Great. You did a lot of great for a lot of people.
And David, thank you for sharing the generations that are going on.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
In good hands. In great hands.
Both those guys with a whiteboard are pretty awesome.
David Breeden something with the markers? That ring a bell, David Breeden. Were you something with Mitch markers?
Yeah.
Wasn't David Breeden?
Yeah, it was.
I was Captain HUV one time. You remember Captain HUV?
Yeah.
And you guys thought I was nuts. You know, when I was also heading up like the product management group, and you're all under that, and I came up with the idea that y'all should do these skits for the dealers to teach them.
I loved it.
I remember. Well, you and Tim were the best at it, and Tim looked at me like, she's nuts, and all the other guys. And then Tim went off with you guys and came back, and you were all like totally into it. It was an incredible show. The dealers loved it.
That was a salesman.
Hey, the dealers.
That was a
What?
guy became a salesman.
It was very effective. You're right. The dealers loved it.
I was blown away by what you guys came up with. It was fun.
David, you and the team led that first level of professional product specialists, PPS. Inside of it, what's interesting now is that I have chatted with companies in every kind of industry, and they are starting to adopt that model inside. because products are becoming so technical, so specialized, et cetera. It takes someone extremely dedicated. It really takes a sales engineer now to be able to do that. But
I step back and think of all the time is that original PPS team that had 13 members, half of those people are still some of the highest performing territory managers in our company right now. Man, when you look down the list at the guys who really deliver results year in and year out, they were on that team. It was a collection of professionals, very intelligent guys, and they still to this day drive the revenue of this company. So, when you look back over a period of time and you had both of you, put that team together, and it's just brilliant. Those people are still as committed to this brand as they were 20 years ago when I started.
Product passion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great people. Those dedicated hearts. Yeah, that's awesome. That's good to know.
Yeah, we were talking about yesterday.
Hmm?
We were talking about yesterday. David's boss was on the PPS team. You had Gents,
right.
which is in Sweden now.
Yeah.
He was on the PPS team.
Yes.
Service.
Yeah.
Everything.
We could count on one hand the people in the entire company globally above Jen, but I mean Jen has done very well for himself. I got a chance to see him about a month or two ago.
That's awesome.
Well, and Chris, if you would have been around at that time, we would have had you on that team too.
He would have been perfect.
Honored.
Because we want just the few and the best.
Yeah.
Few and the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, I hope you're running HUSQVARNA sauce.
A little bit, right?
He's warming up.
On.
He's warming up. He just the last saw he bought personally was a HUSQVARNA.
All right, boom.
Another tool trailer. We're expanding. We want to, we were in Texas and Ohio at the same time, and I've been talking to David. At the next one, well, the 53 footer, it'll be full of one. So that's the plan.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, I hope we didn't hijack the show here, but it was fun.
Turned into one of those podcast things, so that's good.
Yeah.
Here and there and everywhere in between, I think. We've been around and around.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming by, and we'll hopefully do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Love to do it.
We all have a great time down there, and
We will.
Main thing is happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Just remember there was one place that was empty on that third day, and that was a good thing.
Yeah.
That's right.
Not when you live life is full, but it was empty and he's risen. So,
Amen.
yeah.
Thank you, folks.
Good seeing you.
Good night. Good night.
Good sawing to you.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you guys. Thank you. That's good.